You'd be surprised to know that some of the most successful women of our time face challenges just like you and I do.
Hi, I'm Amber.
And I'm Lisa. We're authors of the book Leading Ladies. Discover your God-grown strategy for success.
We invite you to join us in an honest, messy bun conversation about the things we'd rather keep hidden in our lives.
Some of those things can keep us from moving forward in purpose.
So grab a cup of something delicious, kick off your shoes, and hang out with us for the next 30 minutes. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Christmas edition of Leading Hearts. Oh my gosh.
You've had one too many Christmas editions.
That is non-alcoholic eggnog.
Nice disclaimer to share. I'm just still going with coffee and half.
Well, good morning and welcome to Coffee Chat with Amber and Lisa, or Eggnog Chat as I am partaking in. This is 3 days. Is it 3 days until Christmas?
Okay, wait. I think it's fitting that we count. So Christmas Eve is Tuesday. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. So today's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Technically, we have 3 sleeps, right?
Yes.
No, we have 4 sleeps before Christmas Day.
Wow. That is incredible because it feels like
Wouldn't it be terrible if Christmas Day wasn't until Thursday and I just totally startled everyone into thinking that they were not on target, right? Oh my goodness.
Oh, good night. It for some reason, it doesn't feel quite like Christmas. I mean, we have been going through some stuff. I've been in a construction zone with my house, which is exciting too, because in that construction zone, a new office and a new podcast studio is coming. Woohoo!
I'm sorry, over here studio. You get the corner of my dining room. That's what you get here.
Right now I'm in the corner of my dining room, but it is exciting to see progress. The little elves will be working overtime after Christmas because all my office furniture arrived. You know, those end of year tax deductions.
Yeah, we've been tossing pictures back and forth of office furniture to make sure we get the right blend.
Yes. And we did tone one of them. I was picking orange and Lisa's like, why don't you choose this camel color, which actually turned out to be really, really nice. We're doing mid-century modern.
Is my favorite. Add a little cozy to mid-century modern, and that is me to my soul. So it excites me to see what you put here.
I'm excited to do that and excited to see everything come together. My back hurts a little bit because we've been moving 150, 200-pound boxes, and I'm older than I would like to be. Does everything hurt more when you turn 50?
Why would you ask me that question, Amber? I'm 25. Why would you ask me that?
Well, if anybody's on here, does everything hurt more when you turn 50? Because it just seems like I sprain my ankle easier, everything just hurts a little bit more. And I'm like, okay, I need to chill back. We did get an appliance dolly.
Good investment.
And that has been great to have, but it has been a time because both of us, Lisa and I, have been sick. Lisa is just kidding over. I mean,
I am. So if I sound a little stuffy, I apologize. If I turn up the volume, it's because I'm having a coughing fit,
Yeah. So tell us the cocktail of what you've been dealing with.
What I've been dealing with? Oh, it's such a joyful pre-Christmas cocktail. I have had bronchitis and a sinus infection. I believe my beloved sweet grandbaby shared some sort of virus with me several weeks back, and it just stewed for a while, thus the sinus infection. And then it went into bronchitis. And then on top of that, my husband tested positive for COVID, and I thought maybe I should test. And yes, the vid hit the household. Needless to say, things tend to linger longer with me. We are doing antibiotics, steroids, some prescription cough medicine that come in these nice little capsules so you don't have to taste the nasty.
Yes.
So it's been really pleasant.
And didn't Randy had walking pneumonia too?
My daughter had walking pneumonia. Randy walked around with it for so long and then finally went in the last time for a checkup and they said COVID. So
oh my goodness.
It's been so fun here and grandbabies have been infected. They've all gone through the vid. So we are all going to be so happy because we're all just starting to feel better and like we are coming to life again. You know, we talk about, I know you posted on your wall, is it okay to not decorate this year? I just can't. I am a Christmas cheer girly to my core. I have to blame all grandparents, grandmothers, and great aunties and parents, aunties.
Yes.
They did this to me. I come by it honestly. If I would tell you how magical my childhood was concerning Christmas growing up,
Wow.
I was very fortunate. And so for me, Christmas isn't Christmas without the Christmas stuff up. And
Yes.
so we got a tree yesterday for Christmas. I like it around Thanksgiving and I like it till way after the new year because my birthday's on January 8th.
Yes.
I like it up. I like the lights up. So we are really late. Right now, my husband made a joke about it, but Christmas is in boxes. That whole thing from Grinch, it says, you know, Christmas, maybe it doesn't come in boxes. Well, yes, it does. It comes from boxes from my garage.
From the attic and the garage.
And right now the Christmas boxes have thrown up all over the family room. And,
and I get to come over and experience the Christmas boxing joy. We're driving up.
You do, because I will be in process tomorrow still, I promise. On top of that, my daughters have been telling me for the longest time, get you one of those ruggables, those washable rugs. And one day, miraculously, there was someone on Marketplace selling a brand new 9 by 12 foot ruggable. And it was the perfect colors that I needed. And they only wanted like $75 for it. And that was a big chunk for me. But considering I'd seen people trying to sell 8 by 10s for like 100, I was like, oh, that's a good thing. And I had a little bit of money tucked away from my superstar payment check. I hang on to it as long as I can. And I bought this ruggable, right? So it's been in my living room and we needed to wash it because I also have a Great Dane puppy. And sin of all sins, this past week when we're all sick and struggling and in and out, she decided that maybe the rug was a good place. and I'm not going to say any more. I'll leave that to your imagination. But so right now, behind me in the other room is the Christmas boxes throwing up.
Wow.
In front of me is this 12-foot rug that is propped up on all my dining room chairs with a fan at one end and a fan at the other that's been blowing all night. My house smells collectively of clean laundry and Christmas tree because we also got a blessed Christmas tree yesterday. My daughter went out and got the Christmas tree. She got it for a rock bottom price of $14. Tell me that isn't a Christmas miracle. Little bracelet fur, beautifully shaped, not dry at all, beautiful short needles. Oh, God loves me. So yeah, this is the chaos that is post 3-week sickness, late on Christmas. Do I think we're going to pull it off? Yes.
Yes.
Might it be a little less than normal? Again, yes. But it's going to be good. I promise. Christmas is coming.
Yeah. You know, one of my friends from high school, I remember her parents went out the night of Christmas Eve and always got their tree.
Wow.
And that was like something they did. Like they got their tree, they decorated it that night, and that was the big tradition. And I don't know if very many people do that anymore. I mean, a lot of people like decorate the day after Thanksgiving or the first day of November and keep it up. I wonder about all these people with these really extravagant light displays. Like, when do they start putting those up? You know?
Well, I know you have to kind of hit the pre-cold weather to do it outside. And I know a lot of people just hire companies to do it. That's not the way we do it. My husband would be hanging from a ladder outside. And I would be praying inside, God, please don't let him fall. Not that type of Christmas interaction do we need, but we don't have lights outside or anything. It's going to be fine. I kept saying this Christmas is very different. Not that we ever are able to do exorbitant thing with gifts, but this year is tighter than most years. And I found myself doing a lot of knitting/crocheting. Right now my hands are somewhat normal size, but they have been so swollen because these little fingers have been working. Is
it harder to knit now?
What are you trying to say? What is harder is that I think my arthritis has advanced a bit. And so that has made it a little difficult. And I will tell you also another secret. I love all things crafting. I love to make things. I like to make things and give things. It's my favorite thing and always has been since I was a kid. And the past, I'd say almost 2 years with our book baby.
Yes.
I haven't knitted a single thing except my oldest twin granddaughters started kindergarten this year. And I just was being really sentimental and I saw this little thing to make these little crocheted hearts. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make my grandbabies little crocheted hearts. And I had some also starting preschool. So I crocheted these little hearts, little puffy hearts, and told them to put it in their little toolbox for school or in their backpack, that they would have Nani's heart with them while they were at school. They'll probably forget it, probably already have, but to me it was a sentimental moment. That is the only thing that I have created until I started to get ready for Christmas and said, I think this year you're going to have to make some things. So I haven't done it. I've been so busy. I mean, if we were to sit and tell people how life had been lifing, which we have shared bits and pieces, both of us have, we were getting ready with this book and with the journal, I think sometimes people are in awe when they really start to take stock in what they've been through in the past few months. And that's kind of what we want to talk about a little bit today, kind of a year-end kind of look back. But sometimes we don't really realize what we've walked through. We haven't taken stock of how good God has been in the midst of all of that, chaotic, up and down, how he sustained us because we're still here. We're still, I can still tell you that he's good. And it has been less than perfect. 1 year ago, exactly probably right about today, my mom, who had lived with us for the previous almost 5 years, we had to take her to the hospital. And she, after that, went into a long-term care skilled nursing facility. We thought we'd bring her home. And we've had to come to the realization that she's probably not going to come home ever. And I mean, there have been a lot of transitional changes that we just didn't see coming, if that makes sense. So in all of that, the chaos, the insanity, God is still good. And he has been with us every step. I truly do believe that.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been taken off guard by any of the stuff.
Yes.
I find a great sense of hope and peace, recognizing that he is not taken off guard as we sometimes are.
Yeah.
It settles my heart knowing that he's very aware and right there with us. So yeah, what a crazy segue to the conversation this morning.
You know, we were going to talk about the gifts of wisdom, the things that we've walked through, the gift that has actually been a gift that has bloomed in us over the past year. And I think where you see God show up in those very trying moments are the gifts, because even though the situation that you walk through may not be taken away, there are people, there are things that just happen that I think you have to be open, your eyes have to be open to, you have to be aware of. This is God knocking on my door saying, I'm still here and I'm here to miraculously turn this around. I honestly, we've had very slim moments where we're like, okay, we're down to under $20 in our bank account, right? You've had all those moments.
Oh, how about unto $0 in the bank
into
account?
the $0
Every week. It happens.
And it happened. And I was worried and everything. And it's not that you don't have those moments for a prolonged period, but just at the right time, God brought a gift of money in that I wasn't expecting, that was just enough to cover a bill. Right. And it's in those hard times that I see God show up, and it's like that hand to mouth manna, that manna provision. It was like God gave the Israelites just what they needed for the day, and they couldn't store it up.
Right.
And for the moment. And I think that's why sometimes God does those things, because he wants those miraculous things to show up. He wants us to know that he is right there interacting and doing things we could not do in our own power. And
I kind of look at it this way too. I know that there are people who God does provide, and he does give us exactly what we need for the moment. I look at all the people that have been such a blessing to our lives, to our families, their friendship, their love, how they know just what to do at the right time to just help reignite that spirit of hope that is in us and sometimes needs to be shaken a little bit, I'm so grateful for those people in those situations. And yet I find myself saying over and over again, really all we need is what we need for today, one day at a time. One moment at a time. And sometimes that is exactly how it comes, but it should not surprise us. The word says that, he makes sure that the sparrows are taken care of. He feeds them. He clothes the lilies. He takes care of them. How much more is he going to take care of us? And it may not be what society would deem as substantial. It may come in moments that even the world would think that's not on time. How can you have that God thing? But I believe that he does do things right on time. And the lack that we think we have, you know what? We wake up the next day.
Right.
We wake up the next day. And we
have had moments.
How we look at it.
I've had moments where I was just really thirsty and sitting in the car and really wanting a McDonald's iced tea. And finding exactly $1. I know the prices have gone up.
Yes, they have. It's like $1.30 something.
And I found that in my floorboard. And what you think is, some people would call that coincidence. I call that God knocking on my door and saying, there you go. I'm going to provide you a drink because I know that you want this at the moment, and that it would be, and it's those little things. Sometimes you praise God for a parking space at the grocery store.
Sometimes you don't.
You don't.
I just say God knew I needed to put in a few extra steps that day.
Yes. He's trying to get you to get in the exercise that you need. But I think that is, I heard this quote once. If you live in the past, you live with regret. If you live in the future, you live with anxiety. But if you really switch the narrative to us knowing that God is with us, and we can switch that narrative to say, we look at the past and we see the provision, and we look at the future and know we will be provided for. And that is because we can be so, and I talked about this in the new Leading Hearts magazine that just came out. I had this kind of dread coming over the year, and I just was feeling just really down about how things are in the world. Just everything seems like chaos, and everything seems like, I don't know, it's like shadowed and of course uncertainty, and people, we don't know how things are going to turn out. And things seem to be ramping up every day. And it's not that God kind of told us this, right? He tells us that in this world, you'll have many troubles.
Right.
But it was like, I was praying and it was like, God spoke to my spirit. In these times where you feel this darkness, you have the ability to be a great light.
Right.
And I think that was one of the gifts that God gave me, is a switching of perception that allows me to see potential in dark times.
Right. Exactly. And this is the other thing that comes with that recognition. Yes, we can view what's happening in the world right now as very dark and difficult, and as if maybe some hope is lost. But we are all very different, and we discussed this as well. Not everybody feels that way about the state of the world right now.
Right.
Not everybody feels like we are brinking on the edge of no hope. There are people that don't see the way we do. They have a different filter they see through, or they have a different life experience that we do. And I think so much of what we go through is also dependent upon how we view life, God, His provision, how we view so much of our experience, our human experience. And the reality is that God uses all of it. He uses all of our experience.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that. We have to remember the balance of that when things seem really hopeless and dark and hard. He is present. That doesn't mean the hard goes away. It doesn't mean miraculously all of a sudden life is rainbows and unicorns and sparkles.
Yes. Make your own rainbows and unicorns and
It is
sparkles.
how He sustains us from moment to moment. Like I said, He gives me what I need for each day. What I thought I needed yesterday for today may have not panned out, but guess what? I'm still here. I'm still here, and I believe He is good. I believe there are good people. I may not always bump up against them in everyday situations, but you know what? My hope is not in those people. My hope is not in our government. My hope is not in my job, my husband's job. My hope is in God, my provider. And I believe that more firmly to my core than I have ever felt. And let me tell you, life be lifing hard for about 3.5, 4 years now. And until you life like that, and we've talked about that too, not everybody has life slamming up against them every other moment. Some of us have a reprieve. There are seasons of no reprieve. God is still good. He can still sustain us and be with us. And I believe He can restore our hope in those difficult moments. Sometimes He uses people. Sometimes He doesn't. Sometimes it's just Him and a still small voice.
Right.
Okay. That's really okay.
You know, I think that the challenge that I get in, and I think I'm not alone in this, is the weariness of pushing through hard times, the weariness of the day. And as I said, I have to flip the switch. I have to flip the narrative, or I will get caught in my weariness. I will get caught in that. And I don't think there is nothing of sin in just being, oh God, I don't know how this is going to work out. And I'm just really discouraged right now, because I think God is okay with, honestly, God is okay with us being truthful.
Right. Exactly. He is. And especially for someone, I know that so many people, especially at this time of year, the winter is hard for some people. But I know you've battled and you've been very open about your walk with depression and how hard that has been. And you know, you're right. It's funny. You said I have to flip the switch. I heard a quote this week, and it's so funny. This is the quote. It's funny. And when I put back to my notes, which I just wrote our intro for and copied and pasted into Facebook when we went on, it's funny. It opened right to this one. I didn't have to go back and look for it.
Wow.
It says there has to be some kind of shift, a shift from these are the things that are happening to me to, you know what? These are the things I have choices about.
Good stuff.
It wasn't a spiritual person saying it, but when it happened, I was like, you know, it can be a flip of a switch. It can be a shift. You've said you have to make that shift, that flip. And I do think that that is part of it. I ask God daily to show me where he is in all of it. And sometimes it is the most simplest of things. Simplest of things. And you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it every time, because you know what? I'm still here to witness those simple things. I'm not unaware of them. When I ask, I get them. I'm not saying that's been all my life. There have been moments where, you know, you do cry out, God, where are you? Where are you in this? I see no part of this that can be from you. And it's in those moments where I do believe the shift has to happen. You have to really go into that mode of prayer and faith in him. He's done it before. I know he'll do it again. He did it in these ways before, and I didn't see a way out. But there was. And, you know, there are things we may take with us to the grave that we're not sure how they're going to work out. Should Jesus come back and take us all away? There are things that we will still see unanswered. Does that make God not good? No.
You know, a lot of people at the beginning of the year, they have this word that they feel like, or they pray or whatever that God gives them for the year. Lisa, have you thought about that? Have you thought or had a word drop in your heart?
It's so funny. I feel like life is so chaotic. My life is so chaotic with, please don't misunderstand. My life is full in beautiful ways. I have got so many beautiful children. I have son-in-laws. I have grandbabies. I have my parents still with me, and I have brothers and sister-in-laws and nieces and nephews, and life is full even when you can't touch base with all of them. So for me, I find myself getting to this point of the year, not even thinking about what my word is. And then I jump into January 1 and go, oh no, I need a word. I need a word. And then I have to stop and go, wait a minute. Who said I needed a ding dang word? Why? Why do we put all this weight on people like me?
One word.
Or one word. You know what? God's not an either or God. Isn't that what I say all the time?
Yeah.
He's an and in both. And you know what? God's going to give me a whole bunch of words.
And he has a bunch of words.
And I'm going to be okay.
He has a bunch of words.
There's a lot of pressure for the word.
Between two covers, he has a lot of words.
He does. But it's a lot of pressure. What is my word? What is my focus supposed to be this year? Once again, I think I have to go back many times to a daily reliance upon God and what he tells me, what he shows me, what I find out I need that I didn't realize, what I find out he provides that is new expectations, you know, and for me, it never comes down to a word. Do you have a word already?
You know, there was actually a few words that
do we want to know the word?
God is a God of many words. And for some reason, there's two words of mercy and courage.
Yeah.
Those two things. And the courage is more intimidating than the mercy. Because usually when you get a word, you get tested in that. I mean, like, how many times, you know, and I'm not saying that was just one word but I just felt like, okay, courage. What does that look like? It probably means I'm going to be facing things that I'm going to have to be. And we all are facing things that we're going to have God step in and build courage in us, not only walking in our call, but in our everyday life. And I think courage is all connected with reliance on who God is and who he has called us to be.
Right.
And how he's called us to walk that out.
Right.
We all face moments where it's scary. And I think that's why be of good courage. Be of good courage. He's with you. Be of good courage. He enables you. Be of good courage. He's going to move you forward.
Right.
You know, whatever may come, he is there. And I think that being of good courage requires looking back and seeing what you've walked through, the gifts that you would have rather regifted, as we've talked about.
As we're talking about.
The gifts that you would have rather regifted that end up building something in you. And I think that that's what God calls us to when he works out our faith. We'd rather not exercise. I'd rather just sit back and drink some eggnog.
Well, there's that.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is, working out requires as much rest as it requires movement. We have to rest those muscles, and we have to rely that when we're not working, God is working something out in our DNA to enable us to move stronger forward. If we would just work out 24 hours a day,
no,
that would not help us.
No.
So he knows that we need rest. He knows we need to step back, look at Christmas lights, enjoy family,
right,
and enjoy the small things and look small for him to show up. That's the thing. And I think that that's always moved me forward, is sometimes in the smallest thing, I can hear God whispering and knocking. I'm here.
Right.
I'm here.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's just when certain birds show up. Sometimes it's just looking at my Christmas lights strung around the room. God is here. His light is here. His presence is here. It's not the lights. It is the awareness that there are sparkles of goodness in my day that I need to unpack. I need to unwrap, and mindfully turning that into, let's unwrap these things.
Right. And it comes in that moment, and part of why I am such a Christmas girly. I've always been, I know not everybody is, I recognize that. I've always been a fan of winter. I mean winter. We're upon the solstice, the winter solstice. No, I'm not pagan, folks. It's just the longest minutes of darkness that comes to us in winter. It comes to us in winter, the longest night, it feels like. And for us here in the Midwest, it's usually very cold. All apparent life, as far as leaves on trees, have fallen, and everything seems to be falling into this dark, cold slumber. And I think about the scriptures that talk about Christ coming as a light. It just makes it even more significant for me as a Christ follower, as someone who, in spite of how I can't make sense of how a virgin would conceive other than a miraculous happening, and how one tiny baby can come to bring such light into the world, I look at this time of winter and I think part of why I've always loved it is because I've always found something very special about the candlelight that we don't have to put out quite so early in the summertime, or the twinkle lights that are so small but beautiful, the cozy sweaters, the mittens and the scarves, the boots, the blankets. I find those things to be warmth emotionally for me. And I've always looked more towards those things than how many minutes of sunlight we're losing every day as we get to this point. And I recognize it's just a very different way of thinking. We all have different personalities. Once again, we see things differently. But I mean, I look at those sparks of light and warmth, the sound of a fireplace. I look at those things and they make me cozy.
Right.
Cozy. And they help remind me that the light of the world came. We have long lay the world. We have all of these pictures given to us of this tiny light that came through a very dark time. And that stirs up hope in my heart. And so I encourage people, when people say they struggle with the darkness and they struggle with the cold, I often say, you need a good candle. Let's get warm to drink. I know it doesn't fix everything, but for a moment, maybe just linger with the twinkle for a minute and let God use it. I believe he does. And I know I'm not making light of people dealing with clinical depression. Believe me, I'm not. I'm just saying that for me, it resounds with my spirit this time of year to see hope coming in the form of a tiny baby. And I have to lean into that, even if it's not the easiest of holidays.
Yes.
Right?
And even in winter, things are happening underground that we don't see.
Exactly.
And even in rest, God is preparing for new blooms.
Right.
He is resting the ground.
They're coming.
Farm girl, what happens when we don't rest our ground?
Right. When we don't rest our ground, we do not produce beautiful crops. When we don't rotate the ground, we do not produce beautiful crops. Let God take us in and out of those seasons of what appears to be darkness and maybe less attractive to us, to rest in Him, to rest in His goodness. I feel like this time of year draws me to a deep place in my heart, in my spirit. And as much as, yes, presents are nice and having the parties and the activities, I really like the quiet of this time of year too. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to fight to find it. You really do. You have to fight for that sometimes.
Yeah. And I think when you're talking about the cozy, it just reminds me of warm hugs. The warm hugs when we wrap up in the Father's love. That is, it is so, that's really evident to me in the winter time. Right. And, in summer and spring, we're all running everywhere. In winter, just cozying up with a blanket, hot cocoa, hot tea. There's just something of slowing down that is so beautiful in the season, just with a bunch of lights. Now, I don't have a Christmas tree up this year, but I have my lights and I have my little ornaments and my gnomes out, because everything else is a total wreck. But, I just enjoy knowing that in this season, there's something to celebrate. Amen. And every day is a reason to celebrate goodness. Right. And sometimes we have to unpack the goodness from the gifts we'd rather regift.
And there's some gifts we should not regift. We need to place them in the trash receptacle where they belong and not worry about it anymore. Okay, let's throw that one out. That one definitely is not going anywhere else. That's it.
Exactly.
That gift exchange, you can steal somebody's gift.
Yeah.
Person, it's dead. Yeah, those things need to die.
Those need to, the funny thing is, like, when we were unpacking, we were kind of throwing out, we had a 40-yard dumpster. We were throwing out everything. And it was amazing to see all the gifts that have gone into boxes.
Right. And you never saw the light of day. They were never worn. They were never displayed.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny and you have a chuckle about thinking about it. And, I think this is the time where we like to reflect, and we should be reflecting on the goodnesses of God, those lights in the middle of darkness that have brought such beauty into our lives.
Right. And there are practical things. When I think about this, I want to also talk about this. There are practical things that we can do to help bring ourselves out of that dark humbug place. And we all know what things bring us joy. For me, I had not picked up a needle to do any crafting for do you know how much joy it has felt? Yes, my hands have been swollen, but how much joy I've felt actually doing something that I love. What are the things you love? What are the things that spark joy, to coin a phrase? What are the things that can bring you to some moments of joy? Find them. Ask the people that you love the most to help you utilize them. Do what is necessary to try to make sure that you walk into a better place. I know it doesn't fix everything, but I do believe turn to a friend. If you are someone that is going through a very difficult, dark time right now, please reach out to us. I would love to pray with you. Yes. We all walk through difficult moments. I think the lie that we embrace in those difficult moments is that nobody's going to want to walk through with us. Why would we want someone else to have to walk through that dark place with us? Nobody else is going to want to take that on. Those are lies. And you need to know that the body is here. And yes, maybe you've been hurt by the body. Maybe the body has not been kind to you. And I'm talking about the church in general, but not everybody is the person that hurt you or the situation that harmed you. Keep in mind that Jesus is he's still walking among us. He is still here to ignite in our hearts his passions, his love, So reach out. Let somebody pray with you.
Why don't you pray? Why don't we close? Because we're getting to the extended time period. I just love you. Yeah. We're getting into Coffee Chat, the extended edition.
Which we have done that a few times.
Exactly.
Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this day and for this moment, whatever it is holding. I know what it holds for me personally. I know the things that are knocking on my mind, trying to distract me, trying to weigh me down, trying to make me feel like maybe there is no spark of joy or light in this life right now. And I just ask you, Father, for those that might be struggling in this moment, I ask you right now to just let them feel your presence. Let their heart sense that you are here with them in this tiny little moment. No matter what is happening, Father God, I ask that you would just enter the room, so to speak. We know you're always present. That's what we're told. You're always present, but we don't always feel that presence. So God, I ask you, please let us feel. Turn the volume up on our ability to feel peace and joy at this time of year. I ask that you help us to draw strength from you and from those that you place around us that will allow us to borrow some strength. For those that are sick in body, I ask that you would touch them, that you would bring healing to them. To those that feel like they're alone, that there may not be someone that they care and love with them during this holiday season, I ask that you fill up that space, that you fill it up with your presence. Let it be noticeable, God, that they are not walking through these days alone. For those that maybe feel like they don't have the provision that they would like to have to do the things they want to do this Christmas, God, just keep tuning their heart and their mind to you and to your goodness, to once again, peace and joy, and those things that are not tangible. You can't buy them on a shelf. You can't put them in a beautifully packaged box. Those are things that have to come divinely from you. God, I thank you. I thank you for this podcast. I thank you for the ladies that faithfully join us every week. I thank you for the goodness that you have given us in this past year. And I give you glory, God, for what I know you're doing right now, but most of all, just for the simple fact that you were willing to come into this dark and dreary place and bring light in the form of your son, Jesus. In your name I pray. Amen.
Well, you guys, we are anticipating some Christmas joy in about an hour when our Chiefs take on the Texans. Woohoo! The holly jolly men in red.
Can you believe that Amber is sitting there in a Chiefs sweatshirt? Yeah,
yes.
a transformation is happening.
It is a transformation,
year, right?
I think I've unwrapped the gift of the Chiefs.
You know, I'm so glad you finally came out of darkness into light. Chiefs Kingdom is where it's at. I do want to tell people that we are on the brink of some changes ourselves. We'll give you lots of new information about that, but this year has held a few interesting things for us concerning the book and the publishing world. And I want you guys to know that we are making decisions and we believe that there is goodness coming, and we're so excited to share that with you. January's coming. If you don't have a word, believe me, life is not going to end if you don't get one.
Yeah. No, you have many words.
I would encourage you to enjoy this holiday season and just allow your focus to go from, once again, those gifts that we don't want to take forward with us, those things that we do, and how might God utilize them in the coming new year. Amen?
So true. So true. And I also want to remind you guys, we are up on all podcast platforms. Please join us. Please like, subscribe, share. We have all this goodness coming. And we also are up on YouTube. Oh my goodness. I was counting the other day. We have over 50 videos and funny antics. So you can go watch Coffee Chat and Review. I know you're going to want to spend your holidays binge watching coffee chat with Amber and Lisa.
That's what you want to do, folks.
Well, Merry Christmas, and we will see you in the new year. And we're so excited. You guys take care and have a great time with family and friends.
Amen. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. In a world that often tries to confine and categorize, best-selling book Leading Ladies, Discover Your God-Grown Strategy for Success, celebrates the diverse tapestry of women just like you and their unique journeys of faith. Join Lisa and I as we partner with over 30 women from every hue, age, and walk of life, united by one mission to let Christ shine through our gifts, wherever we are. Within the pages of Leading Ladies, you'll find a wealth of wisdom, inspiration, and practical guidance. These women share their personal stories, triumphs, failures, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Leading Ladies is more than just a book. It's a movement, a call to action for women of faith to rise up, support one another, and make a difference in the world. Together, let's celebrate the strength, resilience, and faith of leading ladies from every background and be inspired to let Christ shine through your gifts, wherever you may be. Leading Ladies, Discover Your God-Grown Strategy for Success. Available now wherever books are sold.